Hello and a very warm welcome to yet another delightful edition of the program CAC Weekly, a weekly program that keeps you abreast on the activities and the achievement of the Corporate Affairs Commission. I am Amina Jibril. Coming up on the program, CAC and European Union's Agent for Citizen-Driven Transformation partners to ease filing of biannual returns for CSOs. Also, Senior Staff Association of Statutory Corporations and Government-Owned Companies commends President Muhammadu Buhari for signing CAMA 2020, says it has improved CAC's revenue. Plus, company law expert brings us up to speed on the role of directors in CAMA 2020. But we will be right back after this break. Do stay with us. Welcome back. We begin today with the efforts being made to strengthen ease of doing business in Nigeria. Now, the efforts of the Corporate Affairs Commission, CAC, towards the development and integration of a platform for filing audited accounts on its enterprise software, the company's registration portal, CRP, has received a further boost. This development came after the successful selection and initiation of the developer of the accounting software, Centrifuge Group, to effectively drive the process. Now, speaking at an initiation meeting held between the CAC and its development partner, the Agents for Citizen-Driven Transformation, EU-ACT, the Registrar General and CEO of the Corporate Affairs Commission, Alhaji Garba Abubakar, noted with satisfaction the level of progress so far witnessed by the project. Now, represented by his technical assistant, Muhammad Abdullahi. The Registrar General of the CAC said the full deployment of the software will afford customers the opportunity to seamlessly file annual financial accounts and biannual statements for companies and incorporated trustees, amongst others. In his remark, the National Program Manager of the European Union Agents for Citizen-Driven Transformation, EU-ACT, Damilare Babalola, said the event was a continuation of their earlier collaboration with the CAC. He further stressed that Mace's Centrifuge was eminently qualified for the assignment and therefore brought on board to speed up the project, which aims to improve on CAC's existing structure, make it more effective, and to increase compliance, particularly for the civil society organizations. Damilare Babalola used the forum to applaud the commitment and support of the Registrar General towards ensuring success of the project, which will eventually incorporate the XBRL, the Extensible Business Reporting Language, a freely available and global framework for exchanging business information. Also speaking at the event, the Group Managing Director of Centrifuge Group, Damilola Awe, thanked the EU-ACT and the CAC for finding them worthy to undertake the project and assured of their commitment to delivering on the mandate between 6 to 8 weeks from commencement. CAC Weekly recalls that the CAC and the Agent for Citizen-Driven Transformation, EU-ACT, had in January 2021 signed a Memorandum of Understanding to further complement the effort of the Commission towards achieving full implementation of the CAMA 2020. Findings by CAC Weekly reveal that one of the uses of XBRL is to define and exchange financial information, such as a financial statement, and it's a standard-based way to communicate and exchange business information between business systems.
We need to identify all the reporting template that is being currently used. How do we report those, as we speak now? How is the agency reporting? What are the tools that they are using? We need to be aware of them. We need to get them. We need to group this report template by department, by regulatory bodies, and positions. We also need to create data dictionary, which is very important because things change. We need to create data dictionary of all the items to be collected and get a sign-off on that. Because it's based on this data dictionary that we will build the application. Okay? It's like a contract, that binds the software design and development and also with the agency.
And now moving on. The Senior Staff Association of Statutory Corporations and Government-Owned Companies, SASCOG, have commended President Muhammadu Buhari for assenting to the Companies and Allied Matters Act, CAMA 2020. In a communique issued at the end of a Central Working Committee CWC meeting on 8th July 2021, SASCOC said the CAMA 2020 has gone a long way in impacting positively on the revenue and performance of the Corporate Affairs Commission, CAC. The communique, jointly signed by Comrade Muhammad A. Yunusa, President General, and Ayo Olorunfemi, the PhD General Secretary, the association applauded the CAC for leveraging on the CAMA 2020 to providing an end-to-end electronic solutions for its customers and the general public. SASCOC therefore enjoined the CAC to continue with its reform initiatives in accordance with global best practices. The CWC of the Senior Staff Association also used the forum to further commend the federal government for resolving outstanding pension matters and increasing its contributions to workers by 2.5%. Comrade Suleiman Giray, the CAC branch president of SASCOC, spoke to CAC Weekly on the meeting.
The CWC in session recommend and commend the federal government and Mr. President for assenting to the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020. In essence, it stated that the new CAMA 2020 has opened a way of registering an end-to-end business in Nigeria through electronic means. So, and it is going to improve on the revenue of the commission as well as operating surplus to the federal government. So, based on that, the CWC in session has commended the federal government for assenting the new CAMA 2020. The most important thing, many people, even the participants in the CWC has mentioned that the new innovations by Corporate Affairs Commission has make the process of registration so easy and so fast, to the extent that many people are saying that they do their registration within 24 hours and they get it right. And after the process has been completed, the certificate is being sent to their portal immediately.
Let's now shift gears and talk more about CAMA 2020, the game changer. On January 3rd, 2021, the CAC commenced the implementation of CAMA 2020, a robust framework which attempts to erase bottlenecks and simplify doing business in Nigeria. Now, CAC Weekly caught up with Justin Nidia Biraol, the Director of Board Secretariat, who brings us up to date on the role of directors as specified by the law. Do enjoy watching.
Good to have you again, sir.
Thank you for having me again.
Okay. Today we're talking about, directors in detail. Who is a company director to start with, and why should companies have directors?
Company needs directors because it is a fact that companies are considered as artificial persons. Now, stemming from that is that they would naturally act through a natural person. So there is a need for companies, all companies, to have a real person that will carry out the activities of the company, that will discharge the responsibilities of the company, and that will assume also liability for the company.
Okay, as well as the daily runnings of the company.
Yeah.
Okay. I know there are wide ranges of activities of a director that he or she is supposed to carry out. But what are some of his key functions?
Well, a director has so many functions, like you rightly said.
Or duties, if you say.
Duties. They also have various responsibilities. Broadly, we can divide the duties and responsibilities into three.
Okay.
One, we consider it the statutory responsibilities. Then we could consider the other class as what we call fiduciary responsibilities. Then we also consider managerial responsibilities.
Okay. So for the sake of time, let's concentrate on the statutory responsibilities.
Basically, the statutory responsibilities first starts with the Companies and Allied Matters Act, which requires a director to manage the company honestly in the interest of all stakeholders of the company. And by stakeholders, we mean the shareholders, we mean the employees, we mean the customers, and even the community where the company is situated.
Okay.
Yes, so at every point in time, the company director is required to manage the company in the interest of all the stakeholders.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before now, companies were not required to manage, in managing the company, to factor in the concept of what we call sustainability management requirement.
Okay.
But under this new CAMA, directors are required, while managing the company, to also factor the requirement of what we call sustainability principle.
Okay. So what is sustainability principle?
Well, sustainability principle basically looks at three things. It looks at what we call economic, social, and governance responsibility, or ESG.
Okay.
And what that
Is it a case of 3 in 1?
That's what it is. Basically, what that requires is that, in particular, the director should consider the issue of environment and how that company will be sustained for a long period of time so that it will continue to discharge its functions for all the stakeholders, rather than putting more emphasis on making profit for shareholders alone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's go to the appointments of directors.
Well, broadly, two ways.
Okay.
One, at the time of registration, you are required as part of the registration process to fill in the name of the directors.
Okay.
Yes, so if it is at the time of registration, their names are captured in the registration form. But after registration, the companies are usually appointed by shareholders of the company at a general meeting. And the requirement is that it's just a simple majority, or what we call simple resolution, ordinary resolution.
Okay, so now let's go to the number of directors a company is supposed to have. The small company and the not too small, or the PLCs.
No, I think the approach of the law actually is that it's not automatic that when you are a one-man company, you should have one director.
Okay.
Now you can be a one-man company and have many directors, or will be required to have more than one director.
Okay. But what is the maximum a small company, a number of directors he's supposed to have?
Well, the law did not prescribe any maximum for him. That is,
okay. So he can have as many as he
depending on his financial capability. Yes.
Okay. What about PLCs?
Well, like we said, if you are not a small company,
then you are a PLC.
No, you are not a PLC at all.
Okay.
You will be considered as a company other than a small company.
Okay.
Or in a layman's language, a big
company.
Company.
Okay.
And those categories of companies are required to have a minimum of 2 directors generally.
Okay.
Yes. But for a PLC, they are required to have what we call minimum of 3 independent directors.
Okay.
And what that means is that if you take the independent directors as non-executive directors, then what it means is that in addition to the 3 independent directors, you could have other directors that will hold what we call executive positions.
Okay.
Yes.
So who is an independent director?
Well, there is a definition of an independent director, and the requirements are that one, a person who was in the employment of a company
Okay.
in the last 2 years will not be considered as an independent director.
Okay.
So in which case, he will not be qualified to be appointed as an independent director.
Okay.
There are other requirements, like for instance, one, if the person holds what we call direct or indirect interest in a company that has received payment from a company that is above 20 million naira, then he will also not be, he will not qualify as an independent director. The same thing also for a person, a real person now, who has paid or has received payment from the company that is above 20 million naira.
Okay.
So in the last 2 years, then another requirement is that he should also not have been an auditor of the company in the last 2 years. Then the last one is that he should not have been either a director or a partner or an officer of a company who is in partnership with another company.
How popular is the concept of independent directors?
Well, the concept of independent directors is required for public limited liability companies.
Okay, that's the PLCs.
PLCs.
Okay.
It's not mandatory for other category of companies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go to the rotational principle in the tenure of directors. So we have rotational presidency, now we have rotational directors. Is it a case of north and south?
No, rotational principles from the perspective of a company is not like the political law.
Yeah.
Basically, what the rotational principle is that companies are allowed to prescribe tenure for members of the board of directors in their articles of association.
Okay.
But if they fail to do that, then what we call the default provisions in the Act will apply.
Okay, what would be the ideal tenure for a director in a PLC company?
No,
or a limited liability company, or the companies are allowed, is at their own discretion?
It's at their own discretion.
Okay.
Yes.
And you can be a life director?
You can be a life director.
But that doesn't mean you will not be removed?
No, you can be removed.
Okay. All right, so if I'm a life director, why should I be removed?
Well, the law gives the shareholders, who are the owners of the company, to remove you.
Okay.
Yes, if maybe you are not performing.
Okay. Okay. So now let's go to the removal proper. Yeah. Is it based on lack of the person's competence to perform his function, or somebody, a shareholder just looks at your face, or the CEO just looks at their face and says, I don't want to see this face anymore?
No, not necessarily. The law does not compel them to give reasons why they should remove a director. Okay.
So the CEO can just wake up one morning and say, go?
No, the CEO is also a director.
Okay.
So the power, what we should understand is that the power to appoint and to remove directors lays with the shareholders.
Okay.
And that they are required to do at a general meeting.
Okay.
And the requirement is that it should be a simple resolution.
Okay. Yeah. All right, so let's go to the separation of the office of the chairman and that of the MD or the CEO. Is there a clear difference?
Yes. The ideal is that the chairman should actually be a non-executive director,
Okay.
while the CEO is an executive director.
Okay.
In certain situations, the CEO and other executive directors are employees of the company.
Okay.
Yes. So the risk actually is that if you merge the office of the two, that's the chairman and the CEO, you will lose some aspects of objectivity.
Okay.
That's one. Two, there will also be a concentration of power in the hand of one person, because the chairman is supposed to actually check
Okay.
the
CEO.
the CEO.
Okay.
So if he is same person that is CEO, and then the question arises as to who will now check
The other.
The other.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Sometimes you have conflict of interest between the chairman and the CEO. How is that resolved?
Well, like any other.
Because you hear CEO say the chairman is overbearing. He's taking over my function. I'm sure you heard all of that.
Well, that will be for a board that did not take time to develop rules of engagement.
Okay.
But in modern times, board are required to have what we call board charter.
Okay.
And in that board charter, the responsibilities of the chairman and the responsibilities of the CEO
Are clearly spelled
are
out.
clearly spelled out.
Okay.
So ordinarily, that will help to deal with conflict that might arise between the two.
Okay. Yeah. So now let's go to the register of directors. Yeah. Is it like the normal register that we know?
Well, the register is like any other register.
Okay.
Yes, there are requirements of what should be contained in the register. Okay. Of recent, we have additional requirements that, apart from the register of directors and the register of shareholding of directors, which were required under the old legal regime, there is now an additional requirement that there should be a register of directors' address.
Okay.
And the new requirement makes a distinction between what we call service address and residential address.
Okay.
Yes, and that under global best practices, the residential address are actually supposed to be encrypted. And what we mean by encryption is that it's not supposed to be disclosed to the public until there are certain genuine reasons, particularly arising from law enforcement responsibilities, that you can now disclose the residential address of directors.
Okay. So multiple of directorship in PLCs. That's a huge issue, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a huge issue because it is a new concept that came with the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020. What it requires is that a person should not be a director in a public company, in more than 5 public companies.
Okay.
And the idea actually is that it is assumed if he exceeds that number, he may not be able to give adequate attention to all the companies. Because being a director will require that you attend meetings, board directors meetings and general meetings. Then there could be some assignments that you would carry out for each of the requirements.
Okay.
So it's assumed that if that number is exceeded, you may not be able to give adequate attention to the duties and responsibilities of a director for each one of them.
Okay.
And also, those before now, those who are directors in more than 5 companies when the act came into force are required within a period of 2 years from the day the Act came into effect, that's 1st January 2021, within 2 years, they should disengage and restrict themselves to only 5 public limited liability companies.
All right. Mr. Nidia Justin, I'm afraid we just have to leave it here. Thank you very much indeed for your time, sir.
Okay, thank you. It's a pleasure.
And on that note, we wrap up this week's edition of the program CAC Weekly. We do hope you enjoyed watching. Remember, for comments and inquiries, please take advantage of our social media handles and our helplines. On Instagram and Facebook, it is Corporate Affairs Commission. Our email is cservice@cac.gov.ng. You could visit our website on www.cac.gov.ng. And our helplines are on the numbers 081 822 99016, 081 822 98971, 090 874 01598, or 090 874 01599, and 090 874 01600. Do join us next week for another interesting edition of the program CAC Weekly. Same time, same station. From me, Amina Jabril, and the whole team, it is bye for now.